Welcome back to Cinema Bucket List, the show where we work our way through the 1001 movies you must see before you die, a growing list of 1,245 must-watch films for all cinephiles. As always, I am Mike, returning with 10 more films from the list. Fun fact about this film, a coworker lent his DVD copy of this to me 14 years ago, and not only did I not watch it until now, but I still have it. So John, if you see this, send me your address. This is another film that I had a certain expectation for, but instead is much more complex than I anticipated. From what I could gather from the poster, I assumed this was a feel-good heist comedy much like Ocean's 11, and while it has moments of that, it is much darker at times as well. Robert Redford and Paul Newman are perfect as the con artist duo, and Robert Shaw is terrifying as the Irish mobster they mark. This film sways seamlessly between gritty violence and lighthearted antics that at times may give you emotional whiplash. But in the end, it's all for the betterment of the film. This fun yet sometimes extremely dark movie stays on the list.
Mr. Shaw, we usually require a tie at this table. If you don't have one, we can get you one.
Hey, that'd be real nice of you, Mr. Lonergan.
Lanigan.
When you think of post-World War II Soviet Union, most of us probably assume their film industry was controlled solely by propagandists. But while there almost certainly were censors within Soviet entertainment, this romance film set in Russia during World War II shockingly acknowledges that war kinda sucked for the Red Army and Soviet citizens during the early 40s. Following two lovers torn apart by a so-called duty to his country, The Cranes Are Flying defies most romance tropes by having the couple separated for most of the film. It doesn't shy away from the horrors of war and certainly doesn't glorify it, instead opting to take a more realistic approach, grieving at the losses and celebrating the victories. And with breathtaking and revolutionary cinematography by Sergei Urevsky, it truly is a spectacle to behold. This stays on the list.
Подумаешь, невеста сбежала. Радоваться должен. Копейка ей цена из-за такого красавца, настоящего героя! Да какую-то тыловую крысу променяла! Вот правильно.
I first watched this film in high school. The summer between sophomore and junior year, we were all given the option to either read 2 books or watch one movie, The Killing Fields. I was the only person I knew that chose to watch a movie over reading 2 books. Needless to say, I had more free time than everyone else, but I digress. The Killing Fields is a gritty depiction of the true story of the genocide that took place in Cambodia in the wake of the Vietnam War. Following Sam Waterston as journalist Sidney Schonberg and his friend and colleague Dith Pran, played by actual Cambodia genocide survivor Hang S. Noir, in an Oscar-winning role, this film explores not only the darkness of war, but also the morality of journalism and the guilt that may come with inadvertently putting someone's life in danger. With breathtaking cinematography, intense sequences, and incredible performances, including one from a young John Malkovich, this mold-shattering war film will linger in your mind several days after viewing. It stays on the list. I am deeply ashamed to admit that this is only my second Sidney Poitier film, and my first was only watched this year when Glenn and I watched Paris Blues for the Keystone Film Review podcast. Did you know we have a podcast? We have a podcast, you should check it out. Anyway, being one of the greatest actors to have ever lived, I'm shocked I never saw any of his work before 2022. And in this film, he delivers a masterclass performance as a police officer from Philadelphia, stuck in a small town in Mississippi, and tasked with aiding the under-resourced police department solve a murder, all while he encounters horrific racism.
Virgil, that's a funny name for a nigger boy that comes from Philadelphia. What do they call you up there?
They call me Mr. Tibbs.
The intensity built around merely how the white characters feel about his presence is palpable and kept me on the edge of my seat, and the fanatical joy some of them felt in attacking him is enough to make any decent person's blood boil. Rod Steiger is the chief of the Sparta, Mississippi Police Department, compliments Poitier's character as well as he slowly evolves to the point of respecting the northern cop, but it never crosses that line of becoming the white savior to make people feel better about his racism in the beginning. It truly is a great film that stays on the list.
Gillespie? Yeah. You saw it.
I saw it.
Well, what are you gonna do about it?
I don't know.
If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know I am very hard to please when it comes to romantic films. I usually can't be bothered to care, or they annoy me, or they bore me. This one bored the hell out of me. In fact, I can't remember any recent films that bored me quite like this. At only 85 minutes, it felt exponentially longer. And with a lack of backstory, you aren't really given enough reason to even root for the couple in question. You're just thrown into them bickering in such a way that I thought they were brother and sister in the beginning. The only interesting part of this film was the archaeological aspect, as Ingrid Bergman's character took in the sights around Mount Vesuvius. I'm definitely removing this one and replacing it with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Not only is it considerably more entertaining, but it also handles a romance with a couple that doesn't want to be together anymore in a way more interesting light. Plus, visually, it is a superior film. Swap them out!
Vieni con me. Vieni. 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 Vieni.
How dare you speak to me like that?
Andiamo dal signorino Aldone, vieni.
In one of the more intriguing films I've seen, this follows an onagata, a male actor who plays female roles and adopts the clothing and mannerisms of a woman, even while not performing. This onagata is seeking revenge on 3 men whose actions drove his parents to commit suicide when he was just 7 years old. Not being satisfied with simply killing them, he decides to use his skills as an actor to play the long con and destroy their lives first. It is a fascinatingly intense film with great performances, beautiful cinematography, and several lighthearted humorous moments that take away from the dread of the primary plot, making the film wonderfully balanced while examining not only the purpose and satisfaction of revenge, but also the consequences. It stays on the list.
ご覧なさい。3歳のそばにいる女の私を見る目を。ナミジという3歳の娘。まずあの娘に近づきましょう。
Going into this, I thought it was going to be purely a coming-of-age film fueled by sex. While those themes are certainly present and at times laughably gratuitous, on purpose, it is also more nuanced than that. Starring a shockingly young Diego Luna and Gael Garcia Bernal, alongside Maribel Verdú, director Alfonso Cuarón is sure to juxtapose the lively characters with reminders of their mortality every chance he gets. Focusing on side-of-the-road memorials as they discuss their life experiences hammers home the purpose of the story perfectly, while also distracting the audience from some of the more cringeworthy dialogue. It is a beautiful celebration of life, urging the audience to remember their mortality and live in the moment. I'm keeping it on the list.
¡Bájate, cabrón, que nos vamos a partir la madre, güey! ¿Qué? ¡Abre, puto!
Oye, chicos, ya.
¡Abre,
¡Vete a la... clásico! ¡A huevo, te tenía que salir lo pinche nacote, güey!
Pues este pinche naco te va a partir toda tu madre!
Being a pastor's kid, I can confidently say I am more familiar with the story of Moses than most people. Perhaps it is because of my overfamiliarity with it, but there is no way in heaven or hell that this story warrants a 3-hour and 40-minute movie. This is just the kind of over-bloated snooze fest you'd expect from an era where movie theaters were mostly used as a way to escape the heat. It's not all bad, the special effects are impressive for the time, and the set pieces and scale are as well, but you could have easily cut 2 hours from the film and it would have been better for it. It uses the basic hero's journey structure, but doesn't hit step 3 of 12 until after 2 hours. I would say that I'm just tired of the story, but I am replacing it with The Prince of Egypt. It's the exact same story but told in a better, more exciting way. And it's only an hour and 39 minutes, about 2 hours shorter than the 10 Commandments. Not to mention it has some killer songs on it. Move over, Moses, here comes... Moses.
There is no freedom without the law.
Whose law, Moses? Yours? Did you carve those tablets to become a prince over us?
Who is on the Lord's side? Let him come to me.
This one is difficult for me to talk about, to say the least. On one hand, the characters played by James Fox and Mick Jagger are fun and keep you interested in what's going on. The style is unique and obviously has had some influence within the film industry, visually speaking, but it starts off as a fast-paced and exciting mob thriller that I can only compare to a Guy Ritchie film, and then comes to a screeching halt the moment that Mick Jagger is introduced. Then it takes a sharp left turn into a drug-fueled identity crisis, leading all the way up to a Rolling Stones music video. It's ambitious and intriguing, but I wouldn't call it a must-see film unless you're a huge Rolling Stones fan. It's just not my thing. I'd replace it with Captain Fantastic. Similarly to performance, the characters in this 2016 comedy starring Viggo Mortensen challenge social norms. Unlike performance, it remains focused on the main plot the whole time and has a ton of heart. However, I would completely understand if any of you would want to keep performance on there.
It's time for a change. Yeah, so can I. Personally, casting one's mind back, I rather liked it.
There have been many attempts in the modern era to make a noir-esque film. Most have failed, and the ones that haven't either combine it with another genre, such as sci-fi or comedy, or lean in too heavily into the modernity, that it barely qualifies noir at the end. But LA Confidential may be the best example of a modern noir ever. Taking place in 1950s Los Angeles, this film looks and feels like a film shot in that era, then colorized for modern audiences. With the plot shifting focus between three different cops, the just one, the brute, and the fame seeker, the clashing of personalities and worldviews adds to some intense conflicts as they all come together to solve a series of murders. All actors involved deliver fantastic performances, and the direction of Curtis Hanson has me wondering why he only directed 13 films over a 42-year career. It is an impressive modern entry to a genre often forgotten, and it stays on the list.
I just want to solve this thing.
Night Owl was solved.
No. I want to do it right.
Even if it means paying the consequences?
And that does it for episode 6 of Cinema Bucket List. My favorite film from this episode was In the Heat of the Night. Have you started working your way through the list? How many have you seen? What did you think of the films featured in this video, and what was your favorite? Comment down below to share your thoughts, and if you feel so inclined, feel free to like and subscribe. As always, I am Mike, and I will be back next month with at least 10 more films from the 1001 movies you must see before you die. See you then.